You thought you got away with it, Sentinels fans? Well, you didn't. Because today we're going to talk about Team Liquid 2, Sentinels 1, Map 3, Team Liquid 13, Sentinels 1. Where Nats ended up going 25-8 with 455 ACS, and Sentinels got embarrassed. And whilst we are going to look at Bind, I would be remiss if I didn't also give you a couple quick clips of Abyss, in case you didn't see it, of some funny things happening to Sentinels in that game too.
About to run their execute. What is going on here? Oh no. They body blocked each other. They must have done. Yep, they both went for the jump at the same time.
Oh, down towards the back. And God damn, man. I mean, second, he's not slowing down. Alongside his team, the blades whistled away. Kamek with a chance, potentially to contain. That is unbelievable.
So yeah, that's some of the things that happened in Map 2, which went to overtime and Sentinels lost. But now let's come to what we're really all here to see, and that is Bind. And we'll start here with round number 4, which is a round where Sen, after losing the bonus, have decided to kind of, force it up and really try and go for this, right? So this is a round that really does matter for them here. And like so many of these kind of, games where it is like 31, 13-0, those kind of games, it tends to not start off that bad. You just end up losing some of the rounds, right? And this maybe you could say is an example of that, because Sen are going to go for a B split here. We've gone for the drone here. It got destroyed by a Brim molly, but okay, that's some info that a Brim is, probably in Hooker just here. We're ready to come in here. We've taken down Long. It's perfectly fine. Now, what you're about to see, it's not going to be the best exec in the world, right? Like, you're going to see just a couple things I want to point out here is that Narrate's going to come up here. Both of his flashes that he uses in this exec both miss. Zekken's going to end up kind of blast backing not too far away from the rest of the team, and so he doesn't really create that kind of gap. He doesn't create that kind of problem for an opponent of having to look in multiple different directions. So it's not the best exec you've ever seen, but they actually do manage to find the advantage.
Approach in through the B side, looking to try and squeeze these players and see if they can listen, man. Team Liquid, they're doing damage, but right and bang.
And this is how actually a lot of these rounds are going to go for Sentinels, where they end the kind of first skirmish of the round, if you want, actually a player up, right? Like now we're in a 3v2. But this round 4 was really when the kind of main star of the show came into the game, and that of course is Nats, who went absolutely crazy. And right here, I mean, he's just going to find a pretty good timing coming through this smoke and manage to get the first kill on Bang. But from there, as we will see time and time again in this game, he's going to hit a pretty good shot, and there was just seemingly nothing Sentinels could do to stop it.
The damage, the bullets while they're at it, out through the back, they would expect that kind of timing. Nats, he's straight in the fray, straight into the fight.
Down B.
Running a mockery over all of them. John QT and Armageddon expend a bit of way ahead of this one. It's a slow ult at that. Isolates the one, but does he know where Camo is? Does he know where Camo is? The answer is no.
That's kind of how we started this game of Bind, where, did they play that round perfectly, Sentinels? No, but is it like the worst thing you've ever seen, right? Like, is it comically bad? Also, no. But then as we go forward, as we start getting to further later down the line, we'll start here with round number 6. This is where we start to get a bit of the clown music starting to come in, because what Sentinels are going to do, they're staring at a Viper's Pit here down short from Nats, as you can see just there. And pretty quickly, actually, they're just going to decide to go for this Showers play. Now, this is a very, very common setup to have Viper's Pit short, one way here, Raze defending this. And really, when you're looking at this and Camo also has his Raze ult, you're probably not feeling too great for Sen, to be honest, in this kind of idea. And initially I thought, oh, they're going to use their Viper's Pit here from Bang as well, which is another kind of common response, right, to kind of Viper's Pit out here from Shower, kind of get you past that one way, kind of actually get you onto the site, make it difficult for this player just here, and then you have a potential to, do quite a few things. Knowing that majority of the time there's going to be 3 players on B, so you just have this one player to worry about. That's what I thought they were going to do. They actually don't, and initially they actually do kind of surprise Team Liquid, I think, with how quick they kind of do this and manage to get onto the site.
Util into his hands, it's walking, contacting, called by Sen, but how the hell do you navigate this one? Snake bite drop down as well. It's going to be a nade. They're going to try and get the way all the way past this. Showstopper going wide as well. And bullets are flying, exchange, the handshake across the
So that's actually pretty good for Sen, right? They got out of the choke point just here, and they also managed to kill Nat, so now there's no Viper's Pit down short, right? Like, This is about as well as it could have gone for them realistically, and so I think at this point they also, you know, got rid of the result, and even more, they're going to find this kill on camo for there from Bang as well, right? So now we're in a 4v3, we're in a great spot, you know, and at this point, you know, Bang's got his Viper's Pit, and so of course 4v3 post plant, you're going to use it, and this is where the clown music can start coming in though, because he is going to use his Viper's Pit, and it's an okay Viper's Pit, right? It's not necessarily amazing, but it's okay. It just about does cover the spike, but it also creates a big problem for them, right? And that is Zeken's position just here. Because in a second, this smoke is going to fade, and these guys are coming on the flank, and then Zeken doesn't know which way to look, right? Which way does he look here? Because he's open to both. He can't really move from this spot, right? Like, if he tries to move out and in back into the pit or whatever, you know, he's potential free pickings from people either side here as well. So he's in a spot where he can't really move. He doesn't know which way to look. These guys are coming on the flank. He just guesses wrong and instantly dies, right? So we're already going back into a 3v3. And then they have another problem, which is that Team Liquid are playing Gecko, right? And Wingman, you may have heard this before, but he can defuse the spike. Well, apparently, I know Gecko isn't played as much in 2025 as he was in 2024, but it seemed like Sentinels completely forgot that Wingman existed.
Oh, but this might just give them more ins. Kiko moving forwards, and Zeken, he doesn't anticipate this whatsoever. Yeah, with a pit in their face, there's no instant trade-off. Molly at the feet as well, it's going to be locking these Sen players out and wide. Sliders the gaps, they managed to get past it, but still they need the kills, and they need them now. Straight in sight. It's a 1v2, and it's just stuck all the way.
Okay, so that round, as you see, again, not great. The mistakes are starting to ramp up a little bit more, but now we come to round number 7, and this is inexcusably bad. Okay, the other rounds, maybe you've seen rounds like them before, right? Like, you know, it's not ideal, it's not good, but, you know, it's not embarrassingly bad. This round is embarrassingly bad because, again, Sentinels find themselves in a 4v3. The start of the round has gone well for them. Not only are they going to find themselves in a 4v3, it's going to quickly become a 4v2 right here when Kiko walks out straight into Junk UT, right? 4v2, we are in complete control. We know where the sky roughly is because of that Skydog, so we decide to go for the TP here and come back towards A. Okay, we just don't know where this last guy is quite. You know, we're trying to find him. You're going to see they use a flash. They use a drone here, right? So we've got the drone coming down short. It doesn't see him. Now we're going to see a second flash come out from Narrate in just a second as well. And this flash in just a second, it's going to see him. You see that? The flash, it goes off. It goes, right? Someone is there. But what happens next is an utter disaster.
His definition of a ratty player, he defined it, man. Made it popular, no coverage, inside! That's goddamn!
First off, let's just say, this was just incredibly amazing by Nats, right? I mean, to win 4 1v1s essentially in a row is very impressive, right? Obviously, it's 4 1v1s in a row. You might be like, well, what is Sen doing, right? The thing is, even without the flash, even if they didn't have that flash and didn't see him here, right? Either way, someone should be holding this, right? Like, either way, there should be someone holding for the plant. Doesn't matter if the flash went off or not. That should just be the case either way. So to have Zels's planting here and have these three, you know, not holding from kind of, you know, the most obvious common position that this might be in trouble. Yeah, that's not great. You know, add on to that the flash, and yeah, it's really not great. Like, that's the kind of round where you don't see that happen very often. And yes, it does require Nats to go absolutely crazy because, you know, if he loses this fight to Bang there, for instance, you know, he just dies, Sen win the round, it's 3v1, you know, they're fine, whatever. So yeah, it does require Nats to go absolutely crazy, but the fact that this is even possible is really not great. And once that kind of thing happens to you, you know, it can be very difficult to come back from. But to be fair to Sen, let's come to the very next round, where again you will see that they end up getting themselves into a situation where they could feasibly win the round, right? That's what was kind of so crazy about this game is Sen were in quite a lot of these rounds. You know, it wasn't like a complete, like, oh, we got absolutely destroyed, nothing we could do. Are we about to see a massive mistake here from Zeken just walking into a smoke on his own whilst no one else is near him? Yeah, that's gonna be the case. He's just gonna blindly walk into a smoke. Not great when you're our duelist and you have a Razor. You're like the main win condition of the round, and you've just kind of walked into a smoke on your own. Not ideal, right? But again, I want to give credit to Sen here, because even though that's just happened and now we're in a 4v5 and it's not looking great, just watch now how in a man disadvantaged situation, they managed to come up with a really cool plan of how they're going to now, you know, create just an absolute floor is lava on the B site. And even though 4 players are here from Team Liquid, they're still actually going to manage to get this into a winnable situation.
Used by Paddy out towards the back, and that's all respect a bit of that space as well, as the smoke will be going down soon enough. Salvo's going to be used.
With the orbital strike, they still have an opportunity to scorch the earth of B.
Sen going to be trying to cut this one up now. It's all about partitioning up the site and winning the fights up, but how the hell? The Team Liquid getting away, but still Orbital Strike does the job, does it well. Kamek cuts it up close into the corner, and South.
So yeah, this is actually really quite good by Sen, right? In terms of the way they're going to use their util with the Brim ult in here, Viper mollies, salvos, basically nowhere for these guys to go on the backside. Unfortunately for them, they also happen to lose kind of gunfights as they're running out here, right? So you can see Narrate running out here. He's going to lose this gunfight, you know, and it is unfortunate because obviously he's still trying to punish people in case they're running forward or whatever, but they kind of lose the 2 gunfights there. But still, we end up in a 2v2, right? So like you would say, this is a pretty well salvaged round, all things considered, by Sentinels. We're in a 2v2, but as soon as I'm sure myself and anyone else saw that this was Nats and that he was still alive, I think everyone thought, well, Sen are losing this round. And they will lose this round. And they'll lose this round. And I just, like, this is just one of those things where this smoke to me just screams of, like, almost like a bit tentative. You know, it's like, ooh, I'll smoke you off because I don't really trust that I'm going to actually, like, together we're going to win a fight here. So my best chance is to kind of just smoke this off and hope. But really, that just gives, like, it gives Nats something to play around. Right, it gives him options of now he could do this, right? He can now wrap around. Maybe even someone, you know, if they catch a good time, could sneak this way and then can't be seen that way. Like, you know, it gave him options, and in this game, you weren't gonna win.
2v2 and they're not out. Danger yet.
You just gave Nats a smoke to play around.
Oh dear, 14 seconds. There's no clearance into the site. You can see it. They're fighting demons at this point, and his name is Nats. Creeping round, and my God, he will not be denied.
Okay, and now let's come to round number 10, and in this one, we're gonna see something else of, like, Nats had even more impact than, like, just the stats showed, I think, because, like, here is a great example of, so basically, Nats is doing something that's very common in pro games these days, which is when their Viper Wall goes up, our Viper Orb goes up, right? And then when their Viper Wall goes down, our Viper Orb goes down. And so that keeps you, you know, relatively on the same amount of fuel for both the attackers and defenders. And you just basically, if this goes up, ours goes up. If this goes down, ours goes down, right? And you'll see Sen here, and they struggled with this all game, right? They didn't really know what to do with it. So there you go. Wall goes up, orb goes up, right? You're going to see in just a second, wall goes down, orb goes down, right? And that's what Nats was doing throughout the entire game. And Sen did not have an answer. And you're going to see that this ended up with them going like, okay, well, we'll put it down, and now we'll kind of like, you know, look for like a triple swing here, and they won't expect us to be this close whilst his orb is down, right? Oh, problem, Camo is on this angle, he manages to kill Bang. And from this point now, you are just going to see, again, you know, he's getting Teo ulted here, Nats, right? Like, you know, you would think this is not a good situation for him, but just watch, again, as he's going to use this Viper Wall, which is a bit less common, but again, works pretty well here because he's been able to, you know, normally you would say you can't normally do this a lot because you might need to use your Viper Wall across on B. Well, he wasn't using the Viper Wall across B that much, you know, he was doing this wall instead, which he can still use because once they're past this wall, he now knows, okay, well, now I can just use my wall just here. I don't need to use my orb, so he can use his fuel very well. You see how well thought that it is by Nats, and he knows what he's doing. I mean, he's the Viper Master, right? And we see it right here again.
Miracle. Nothing short of divine intervention is what's needed and necessary. He's in the walls, man. He's in the walls. Good luck toppling him. The damage is done.
Now, unfortunately, Sentinels didn't have the grace to go and lose 13-0. So instead, they did have to win a round, you know, just to make this, you know, not quite as embarrassing as it fully could have been. But here we get another good example from Sentinels of them getting into a good situation and then just throwing it, right? Because they start off with this kind of showers default. They go for this dog just here. And actually, Team Liquid, I think rightfully so, went for a 4-stack on B. Because when Nats does this setup, you know that Nats is on A. And so they were probably thinking, well, there's no way they're going towards Nats. Which is perfectly a reasonable call. I mean, maybe Nats is just calling that himself. Hey, you guys just 4 4-stack B. They're not going to come at me. And even though they were 4-stacked in B and they saw nothing over towards A, yeah, they still rotated back towards B. But they did manage to find themselves in a good spot, right? Where they're going to actually find this kill onto Kiko. And, you know, once you find a kill on someone that pushed up on B, like Sendu here, you can then speed up. Right, so they do speed up, and you see the reaction by Team Liquid, especially when they're TPing this fast. You kind of know, like, hey, this is probably pretty free. You know, this guy was pushed up here. They're trying to TP to get there as quickly as they can, because, you know, both teams know it's probably pretty free. Now, Narrate is going to, you know, maybe he could be a bit more patient here, right? We are in a 5v4 where you're pretty sure the B side is pretty free, so, you know, it is possible for him to play like the really late lurk here. You know, kind of let this play out a bit and go for like something like this. That is possible. He doesn't go for that. Maybe he thinks that, you know, everyone's rotating through CT instead, but he ends up dying just there. But still, 4v4, what's about to happen next, we're going to end up in a good spot, right? Like, even though it's a 4v4, Zekken is now going to walk out on elbow on his own, which you might normally say, like, you know, isn't the wisest move, but he's going to do it, and he's going to find that kill. So now we're in a 4v3, and we know that 2 players have TP'd. Right, so we know that 2 players are here. You've got, you know, Zelsis watching this to make sure that they don't, you know, come around this way. So you know where 2 players are. You're pretty sure that the other player is going to be here, right? That's most likely where the other player is going to be. You've completely cleared out elbow. 4v3. This guy's got a brim molly. Normally you would be like, this is just over. Like, you know, they're in a really, really rough spot here for the retaking team, right? Like, having the majority of your players here and having to jump out this window, like, good luck. But just watch, right? Just watch this, because in a second you're going to see Zekken just decide to, I'm just going to swing out, you know, and try and play, you know, these guys and try and get them as they're jumping out the window, and somehow lose a fight to Nats that he should not lose. These 2 are then just going to refuse to try and trade that kill. They're just like, nope, no, not swinging out. I'm not swinging out against Nats one bit. Right, then after a bit of time, Bang's gonna decide, oh, now I'll just, you know, look this way after not trading the kill the first time and die from this side instead. So they kind of lose track of the fact that someone might still be here. They basically think that they're down to 2 players even when they're not. And, you know, most likely, I mean, Celsius would have heard a guy running at this point if he was here, right? So they should know that this guy is here, but they just get undisciplined, and then it just all falls apart. And from a seemingly, like, this should be pretty easy to win most of the time, 4v3 B post plant, they somehow don't even manage to get a kill from it.
To set the tone of this round at least. Round 12. Okay, Nats should not be favoured there. Hopping up. And the playmaker himself, listen, backs to all sorts of these players. Sentinels just not ready for it right now. Wingman scatters forward, and look at the squeeze they put on him.
Nats again. 2 big kills in that spot.